So today is the day that we have been waiting for, December 11th, Wednesday. Why? Simply because of the CPI, Consumer Price Index, and then the rate statement that we have coming out later today for the US dollar and the Canadian dollars, right? These are very key, crucial data, and we're expecting some heavy volatility to to drop later today. For the Canadian dollars, for the rate statements, if you check some few months back, you'll notice that the figures that we have been having based on the actual and forecast has been the same thing. So does that mean that for this November zone, are we going to be having 3.25% as well based on the forecast? Is it going to be the same figures? Only time will tell. One thing I can definitely tell you is that we're going to have some volatility in the market prior to this period for the Canadian dollars. So if we cross over to the charts and then we take a quick look at the USD CAD as an example, because of course we have dollars as well, US dollars, high impact news coming out later as well. So for the US dollar, these are the two main areas that we are focusing on. You see that for a while now, for about 2 weeks thereabout, it has been a bullish move. And of course, you can see that price is moving to the upside. As moving to the upside, you can see areas here that have acted in the past as resistance. Didn't quite get there, but remember it's an area. So this area here too as resistance, which nicely acted as support and pushed higher back to this area of resistance. Now look at what price has been doing here. And this has been since yesterday. And this should more or less continue until we have the news come out later today, right? So the market has been reacting to this area of resistance, has been breaking through, has been, you know, trying to punch out, trying to stay, within the resistance and all. So based on the news coming out, are we going to have a full push to the upside, or is it going to drop back to these areas here? So clearly we can say that the key areas to pay attention to are 1.4090 area of support, and also where it is presently at about 1.4180 area of resistance. If you look over here as well, there's some form of triangle, which is a wedge. If you look closely here, you could start to base some analysis here with respect to if we have a breakout of this upper trend line, maybe a quick pullback here and look for entries here to push to the upside. And that is if you're looking forward to buying. And of course, don't forget you are buying at this area of resistance, but it is still pretty much valid based on this wedge. Or it could as well react majorly to this resistance where it breaks to the downside of this lows over here and then comes back to act as resistance where you can get your entry and then take it back down to this area of former support, also former resistance. Now, this is for the USD card. Of course, we have our favorite Euro USD and Pound USD to quickly look into and find out what is happening with them now. And of course, prior to the CPI data release coming out in a few hours from now. So let's quickly look at the Euro USD, right? For the Euro USD, we've also mapped out our key areas of interest. One thing I'll tell you now is that for a little while, we've had market move sideways for about 2 weeks thereabout. You can see the major sideways movement over here. And that's why you have it looking a bit ugly based on this 1 hour time frame. If you want to clean things up a bit, you could move higher to probably the 4 hours time frame or even the daily time frame to give you a better perspective of what's happening in the market. But one thing I can clearly tell you is that based on the levels, based on key levels that is, you have here as a form of resistance where the market seems to be reacting to. So between 1.0530 and 1.04, let's just call this 1.05, we round it up. Between this area of support and this area of resistance, what is price going to do? Is price going to hold its ground on this resistance point and then drop to this support? Or is price going to break this resistance, which should now act as support and push to the upper side? And as usual, if you look over to the left-hand side, you can see it has already acted as support here, resistance, resistance, a whole bunch of resistance, 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 support. And that's why we always say, look to the left-hand side. You would always find clues based on how important those levels are. For you to know how important those levels are, there are areas that have reacted as support and resistance in the past. And that's why you would hear us call them flip zones. So that's what we have over here based on this Euro USD. So if you're looking forward to selling, you could look for selling here on the resistance point if you're looking forward to buying somewhere here, or a breakout to the upside where this resistance now turns to support, and then you could look for a long entry to about 1.06 area of resistance, as you can see from here, right? You can see to the left-hand side, you can see how it has reacted. Here's also another area, but we'll look at this area here first of all before pushing higher to this point here. And this is for Euro USD. So whatever your plans are for today, take into consideration the high impact news that we have coming out for the CPI and then also for the Bank of Canada rate statement, because we're going to have volatility for the USD and also the Canadian pairs, right? So this is what we've looked at for the Euro USD. And don't forget, we always say whatever instrument that you are conducting your analysis on, make sure you look for areas of buying and areas of selling. This will help you to understand what others are looking at with respect to the market. Resistance, resistance. So here's an important area here. So we're looking at this area of 1.28 and also this area of support here at 1.2710. So you can see here support, 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 resistance. Always look to the left. Resistance, mess this whole area up, but still very much valid as resistance here and then on top support. So what we just did now with this GBP USD as an example is trying to trap price between a support and resistance area. You could as well call this place here a floor. The price is between the support and resistance in this floor. And you can see where it is here is more or less in the middle of nowhere. You prefer to look for selling here at the resistance or look for buying here at the support. Only if you decide to drop down in time frames and look for some minor levels that could also play out from the lower time frame as well. Well, as we always say, look for resistance, look for support, and ask yourself, is price going to push higher to that resistance? If yes, is it going to bounce or is it going to break? Is price going to push lower to the support? Is it going to bounce or is it going to break? You must always have, an idea what price could do. And once price does that, then it is now for you to react accordingly. Another thing I'll tell you is that for this week, price seems to be playing between this area here and this area here. So far, so good. We're marking those areas especially because if we cross over to the daily time frame, you will see exactly what we are trying to show you. Meaning that, let me zoom in a bit. Oops. Now, if you look at what we have over here, from this week, right? From this week, you notice that this is today, Wednesday's daily candle, daily candle. This is Wednesday today, yesterday, Tuesday, and then Monday. So this candle, Monday, you can see we have an inside bar within this Monday's candle. And so far, so good, we have a double inside bar. So some traders will call this the dips double IB. That is DIB, dips double inside bar. This double inside bar simply means that price is bound to break sooner or later. And that's why if you look at it in this way from higher time frame, as long as you understand what you're looking out for, you can also drop down in time frames and look for further clues. If you drop down to like the 4 hours time frame, look for further clues what's happening there. And then you can see from the 4 hours time frame as well, you can see all these areas to the left hand side, how the market has been reacting accordingly to support and resistance levels. And then if you look from the 1 hour time frame as well, you'd also see what's happening. So these two areas here are very key, very important. If you're going to be trading today, make sure to protect your account accordingly by using appropriate stop loss. You could add some little buffer to cater to the spread. And you know the spread could easily increase during high impact news period. That is if you're going to be placing trades around that period as well. And then also don't forget, based on your account balance, use a reasonable percentage so that even if slippage occurs, you would not lose something too crazy during this period. Slippage is something that happens during high impact news where you set your stop loss somewhere here, it doesn't hit that stop loss, but rather goes much lower. In case it's a buy, it goes lower, and where it gets to, your trade could easily close here instead of here. That slippage simply means that it did not honor this area because of how fast price moved. This is something that happens once again during high impact news period. So you need to trade with caution as well. Okay, we're rounding up now. So we've been able to talk about the USD CAD, the Euro USD, and the GBP USD, especially based on the high impact news that we have coming out today, CPI and the Bank of Canada rate statement. So I want to say thank you. Tune in for further updates and would explain more what happened based on the levels that we have marked. Thank you guys. Enjoy and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Cheers.